Hello everyone, my name is Meghan LeVota and I'm an ENFJ, and today I'm going to be sharing with you guys my favorite personality types. So I have sort of a list of categories and I'm going to just explain from my personal opinion, for anyone curious, what my favorite personality types are for certain areas of my life. So my favorite personality type to date is the INFJ. Now, I have experience dating the INFP, ENFP, INTP, ENTP, and ISTP. I think that's it. Aside from, and INFJ, my current girlfriend. So there might be other outliers of like people I've gone on dates with or whatever, but just the people that I tend to be gravitated toward, and sort of my experience and also my understanding of the socionics, interpersonal relations, I would say my favorite type to date is an INFJ. And I'm not just saying that because I am in love right now and I'm dating an INFJ. The way that ENFJs and INFJs go together in a romantic pairing, I really like, because both of us we're more focused on the other person's emotions than our own most of the time. And because we're so similar, we find ourselves giving each other advice that we can't help but take ourselves. Dating an INFJ to me feels almost like dating a mirror in a way, where everything that annoys me about the INFJ, I have been guilty of myself. It forces me to reflect on myself and be a better person. And I think that's really good for an ENFJ, and it's really good for me, is I tend to feel misunderstood a lot. And so dating an INFJ, I instantly feel understood. That's never a problem. In all my experience dating NPs, for as much as I love them, whenever I've gotten into problems where I've just felt misunderstood by NPs, I feel very understood by the INFJ, and also their ability to actually predict what my needs are, because I'm bad at sometimes explaining what my needs are. They could be one step ahead of you and know what your needs are, and actually understand where you're coming from and give you the support that you need, because they understand you. And also, again, that mirror thing is really huge. It's great for self-reflection. Every fight I've ever gotten in, every time I've ever given her advice, has given me something to then process and work on myself. So my favorite type to teach me something new is an ENTJ. And I think I say this because the way they see things is very similar to the way that I see things, and so I almost always see where they're coming from. I love that about ENTJs, because they get the main idea and they have a vision. And if someone doesn't have a clear vision or a clear why, I have trouble following what they're even saying. And ENTJs are really good at just spelling things out for you, like A, B, C, there you go. This is how you do it. I love that, because I know that I could be sort of convoluted. And honestly, I don't like to learn things from ENFJs as much, because they tend to say things either I already know, or just things that aren't super mind-blowing to me. But with an ENTJ, the way they teach things, it is new to me and it is mind-blowing, and they do it in a way that I wouldn't have thought to do, and it helps me be more efficient with my own things, like when I've had teachers or professors, or if I've watched video courses from ENTJs. They really simplify things, and they really hit at all the things that I could possibly be confused about, because they have the shared NI. And my TI can sometimes get stuck on little things, and then the TE of an ENTJ would be able to either tell me that doesn't matter, that does matter, in a way where maybe they'll say, like if I was learning marketing or something from an ENTJ, they would say right off the bat, like something like, you don't need a website unless you've done X, Y, and Z first, or something. And I would be like, oh, okay. And it's like instant clarity, because I might be wondering, my TI might be caught up in the fact of whether or not I need a website. And the way that ENTJs can predict what people are thinking is really amazing. So my favorite type to manage me or be my boss is an ENFJ. And this is especially awesome when the ENFJ is in a similar field as you, where they're older than you. Like, I have a coworker now who I believe is a ENFJ as well. She's taken the test and gotten ENFJ, and she's, my superior at work, and she is, in her 40s, and she's someone I could look up to because I see her professionalism, I see how she voices ideas in meetings and stuff, and I see how she is, and it, to me, seems like peering into the future a little bit. And I think it's really good for me to have somebody who sees my potential and has been where I've been, and is actually guiding me and encouraging me the way that I want to be encouraged. ENFJs are amazing leaders and are really good with people and encouraging them to be their best. And I don't do well being managed in general. Like, I'm way more of a strategist sort of person than a doer, and I've run into that problem in my career. For example, I had an INFJ boss who I really got along with well, but he sucked at managing me. I did not like being managed by him because he didn't tell me what to do. He also didn't tell me whenever I was doing something wrong. And ENFJs have the ability to tell me when I'm doing something wrong, but not in a way that is discouraging, but in a way that's actually encouraging me to do the right thing. And they also are pretty good at positive reinforcement and encouraging, or like letting me know when I did something right. Give me a kudos when I did something right, so I know to keep doing that. I would prefer to either not be managed at all or have a hands-on leader that's actually going to mentor me and care about me personally. So my favorite types to be friends with, I put ENFP and INFP for this one. I love being friends with NFP types. I could talk, you guys can babble about whatever, and I'm like here to listen. NFPs challenge me in ways that I honestly don't know how to explain, and I probably am not going to go into it that much because I think you guys might already get where I'm coming from. But I mean, for example, my ENFP my best friend from childhood was an INFP. We're still really good friends. She's like a sister to me. Whenever I was like 12, I met my best friend, Tara, who's an INFP, through community theater. And she just was so unafraid to be herself, like as a kid. Like, she did not care what people thought, and she was quirky and goofy and just the most hilarious person. She's like the most hilarious person I've ever met. But she wasn't doing it for show. She was the sort of person that would say something hilarious under her breath and wait to see who would notice. And I noticed, and we've been friends ever since. Like, we did everything together. Like in high school, we still catch up on each other's lives nowadays. Like, I love the shit out of her. And if it wasn't for her, and then if it wasn't also for my best friend Crystal from college, who I still do my podcast with now, who's an ENFP, I don't know if I would have been as comfortable being myself, because NFPs tell me it's okay to be myself. They also have this sort of weird faith in the universe that I don't understand. Like, I remember like a year ago, I was they really don't, NFPs don't have this sort of like, you should feel this way or you should feel that way. So whatever I'm feeling, they're always going to validate it and hold space for what I'm feeling. They really understand how processing emotions work, and they don't shame me or guilt me at all if I'm doing something incorrectly or whatever, or what in my mind I think is incorrect. I remember a year ago, I was let go from a job, and I was trying to make it on my own, and I was trying to figure out things, and I was applying to all these coffee shops and freelancing opportunities. And my friend Tara, the INFP, just had this sort of piece of you always figure things out. That's just how life goes. Like she has FI and SI together, has this sort of understanding where it's like, all you can do is just keep going. You're doing the right things, you're applying, you're gonna figure it out. And I'm not trying to say like that all NFPs are gonna have that understanding, but like everything to me can feel so do or die or intense, where NPs have a lot more go with the flow mindset, that not only do they feed me and generate all these ideas that helps me broaden my perspective, but the way that they care for their FI and SI inspires me to care for myself. So my favorite type to strategize with is the INTP. So I love talking about personality type with INTPs. I also love, like when I've worked with INTPs, when we're talking about like making a new product or the future of digital marketing, I can go on for hours and hours with INTPs about how to solve problems, because my inferior TI and their inferior FE, like we help each other. We're both intuitives who we see nuance in things a lot. And we tend to have similar goals and just sort of be hitting it from a different end. Like I love talking like with the problems that I see that affect real people. INTPs almost always are there also wondering about that problem, and all I have to do is just say like, hey guys, I think this is a problem, what do we do? Let's start a discussion. And then the INTP comes in and they're like, oh yes, I've already thought about this, and these are the premises that I think are there, or like these are the 5 factors that influence this. I don't know, they just have it already organized in their head, and I am so focused on making the solutions to help real people, and INTPs are more focused on the actual problem at hand and understanding the way it works. And so we can make a really awesome team in any sort of strategy setting. Like, you know, for those of you who don't know, I do offer digital marketing strategy and content strategy for clients, and I feel like eventually whenever I do get to figure out like my own offerings or like have my own business or whatever with that, I'm always going to want to have an INTP there with me to help me with the strategy, because I see the vision, I see the end goal, but really just making sure I don't miss any of the important details. INTPs are great with that. Okay, my favorite type to accept business advice from is the ISTP. I went with ISTP because almost every other type, whenever I have a business problem, they give me advice that's just not applicable to me. And I don't know if it's just because ISTPs are my dual, but like for example, INTP, or not, well, them too, but INTJs, they often have really great business ideas, but their business advice is not very applicable to me typically. They always give me TE solutions that don't really hit the nail on the head for what I'm trying to do. And also, they have bad FE, and so they don't even know what my goal is or what metrics I'm even looking at to see what success looks like. And I'm comparing to INTJ because I do really enjoy talking to them as well about business. But for example, like if I were to talk to an INTJ about how to set up coaching and mentoring, they would just say, find a price, do it. Just, okay, you're a mentor, say what you want to do, put it on the page, there you go. ISTPs, on the other hand, they see that I'm trying to do something unique and that I'm trying to forge my own path, and their TI is used to being sort of a contrarian, iconoclast, sort of radical person. And they're used to just forging their own path, and they see that that's what I'm trying to do. And honestly, I need to improve my TI and SE. That's always what the problem is. That's always what my goal is. And they see my TI and my SE trying to come out, and they really can help me take it to the next level. And I love ISTPs for that. So my favorite type to just hang out with when they decide to give me attention is the ENTP. I love ENTPs. I think a lot of you guys know that. I sometimes feel like I have to walk on eggshells with them just because I've been hurt by ENTPs in the past, where they aren't great at letting you know if you hurt them, typically. And so I have accidentally hurt ENTPs in the past, and I definitely don't want to do that. And they also can be very judgmental and picky about who they spend their time with. But with the ENTPs I do regularly talk to and enjoy, literally your company means everything to me. And just being there, just talking about life, you guys could be just so freaking interesting. Like, you're just interesting and you're funny and you make life fun. Like, you just make life better. Like, I don't know really how else to explain it. Like, shout out to Carly if you're watching this, my ENTP friend. I love just like joking about astrology or pop culture or whatever. I really do. Honestly, I love talking about pop culture with ENTPs and like going and just exploring life. That's why I think I said just hang out with. Like, if I were to go to like an event or something I thought was fun, an ENTP there to sort of people watch with you would just be honestly the time of my life. You guys are so funny and interesting and always make things different and unique. I mean, I have demonstrative NE in the 6th slot as an ENFJ, and so it's similar with ENFPs. Like, NE DOMs, they just make things fun for me, and they help me use my NE. Because sometimes, if I were to just enter an event on my own, like, let's say I'm going to like an arts festival. If I were to just go on my own or with another NJ, or any other J really, I probably would just sort of observe and then talk about something else. Or like, if I were to go to like an art festival with my INFJ girlfriend, for example, we would observe and we would people watch, and then we would find a table in the corner and talk about our own lives, you know. It's hard to truly immerse myself in a moment like that. Like, and I'm not saying it's less fun hanging out with INFJs, but for example, like NE DOMs, they immerse themselves in the moment. They see the possibilities of the moment, and they goof off around, like, and they also don't care who's watching, you know. I don't know, it's just different. I love ENTPs. Shout out to you. And you always give me new things to think about. So my favorite type of content, aka books, podcast, or video that I like to consume is conceptualized by an INTJ. INTJs blow my mind. And as I was saying earlier that my favorite type to teach me something new is an ENTJ, this sort of goes hand in hand. I learn so much from NTJs because in general, you guys are laying things out in a very easy to understand way. Whenever I was saying my favorite type of content to consume, shout out to Dave Superpowers if you're watching this. That I love consuming Dave's content. Even though I make sort of rambly content, the type of content I make is not the same type of content that I like to consume. I stick to what I know I'm good at, but I like quick videos to the point. Tell me, what do I need to know? Why does this matter? You know, I love that, and I love that about Dave Superpowers. And, you know, there's several podcasts I like to listen to where INTJs are just talking about something they're an expert in. They tend to be experts in whatever the thing that they're doing, and I love listening to experts talk. I mean, whenever I was a journalist, I used to interview, there are a few INTJ entrepreneurs that I'm familiar with that I loved watching them be interviewed, or interviewing them myself about their story, how they got to where they are, and their obstacles, how they overcame them. So fascinating to me. Or even like if they were to come up with a new system and like talk about what they learned in a book. Like, I just love hearing what INTJs can come up with. So my favorite type of art to consume is from the ISFP. I love music. A lot of you guys know that. ISFPs, their art moves me. Absolutely moves me. I spend a lot of my time avoiding FI because I am FI ignoring in socionics. I'm an emotional person. I'm passionate. I have no problem expressing my emotions. But ISFPs, they know exactly what they're feeling, and they aren't afraid to be absolutely real with how hard it is to be a human and be in this world. And it's so extremely simple. There's this one song I really like that is called Landslide by Oh Wonder. And it seems like a very ISFP song to me. Listen to it, let me know what you think. But they always say like, I know you're tired and lonely, but you'll get over it. You'll find another life to live. I know that you'll get over it, or something. It's so simple. But ISFPs have this way of like, yeah, it's simple, and also we're all human. We all experience it. Yeah, I'm not trying to be super unique. I'm not an NP. You know what I mean? It's like ISFPs tend to have this like raw emotion where it's like, I'm not going to reinvent the wheel. Like, I know what heartbreak is. I'm going to just talk about that. You know what I mean? And that's the sort of art that really moves me, and I think really needs to be in this world, because it gets us really in touch with who we are in this very primal, raw way that I love. So, okay, my favorite type of musicians to stan is the ESFP. So this is very similar to ISFP. The reason why I separated these, even though it's the same sort of appeal, they're both SFPs. They have SE and FI. ESFPs, they have this way though where it's not just the art. They also embody that art in what they do. Not that ISFPs don't, but ESFPs have this way where they really can just become a public figure as well. They tend to love performing. Gus Dapperton, I absolutely love him. He is an ESFP musician. I love watching him perform. I love indie music, and so many bands I listen to are NJs, and don't get me wrong, I love that. But I love when you can get an ESFP musician on stage that talks to the crowd and just has a good time. I love that. I'm obsessed with them, and I'm obsessed with just their unabashed, like, hey, this is me. They're like on Instagram, like showing their selfies, and they're like, yeah, I'm feeling myself. So what? I love that. And I'm the sort of person, I love encouraging people, where when ESFPs just are like, you know what, here I am, world. I'm the sort of person to be like, you go, girl, you keep being you. I'm just obsessed with it. It's inspiring to me. All right, I have 3 more. My favorite types to help me with my car and also help me not get screwed over by a scam is the ESTJ and the ISTJ. So I have some loved ones in my family. My ESTJ uncle, aka Godfather, who always helps. I've had so many car problems. If it was not for him, I literally don't know how I would be getting around and doing things, because he can find me a car on Craigslist. He can go to the person and make sure that they're not screwing me over. Like, honestly, I don't know how to go to like figure out if a business is screwing me over. Like, I don't trust myself like that. And also my ESTJ uncle too, like when we went to Mexico as a family, he's the sort of guy where he can tell if you're walking around the street and they're trying to sell you something. He'll like know, like, oh, they sold it cheaper over there. And also like actually barter with the person and be like, no, I know it's really worth this. Like, he knows what things are worth. He also knows his worth. And there's been times when like I've gotten things in the mail where it's like, you need to send in this amount of money or something, and I'm like, I think this is a scam, I'm not sure, but they're using legal language, I'm not sure. Where like I ask my STJ loved ones to make sure I'm not being screwed over, because that's something they're really good at. My favorite types to anticipate what would make me feel comfortable is the ESFJ and ISFJ. So my mom's an ESFJ. I also had 2 ISFJ roommates during college, during my sophomore year and junior year. They know me like no other, because they are paying attention to me in a way that I don't even know how to pay attention to myself. Seriously. Like, I'll make a face that I don't even know I'm making, and it's like, they'll like know if I'm cold or something. Or like, they'll know if I'm tired, or like if I need to take care of myself, or if I need to whatever. Like, they also tend to be have some sort of practice that goes along with, or that helps them be in touch with their body. Either they're on a diet, or they work out, or they do yoga, or they stretch every morning, or they have some sort of self-care practice. Maybe they do a skincare routine. Maybe they have their favorite lotion. Like, they have little things like that that I just don't relate to. That, like, I mean, even just like, part of this is just because she's a mom. But my mom will like be like, oh, like, you need to get some Carmax because the weather's changing, and like, you need to make sure your lips aren't chapped. Like, I just feel so cared for. My grandma was an ESFJ as well, and like, she would like bring me coffee, and I didn't even know I was craving coffee. But then once the coffee's there, I'm like, oh man, like, this really hits the spot. And I don't know, they just know what people need. They know what people need. My favorite types to make me laugh, I have ENFJ and ESTP. I put ENFJ again, even though it was earlier, but really, like, people with FESE humor, it's my favorite type of improv to watch. And also just like, so Fred Armisen and Carrie Brownstein in Portlandia, they're like my favorite, that's like my favorite show ever, favorite comedians ever. They make me freaking laugh, and Portlandia is a great example of an ENFJ show, written by ENFJs, ENFJ humor. Everything in the show, it's weird and random, but if you really pay attention to it, it's making a point about society. It's not super tangential or weird. It's all social commentary. And it's all just ENFJs and ESTPs both, with FE and SE, they really are actors. They really are performers. They know how to embody different characters. You almost have to be sort of soulless in a way to do that. Okay, not saying that betas are soulless, but we don't. Both ENFJs and ESTPs, they either have polar FI, so an FI blind spot, or they have FI ignoring. And when you're ignoring your own FI to some extent, then it's so much easier to embody other characters and other people, and it's just so funny when they do it. And you know, I did speech and debate in school, and I did HI, which was humorous interpretation, and duo, and I loved the ENFP and the ESTP comedians. Cody Ko on YouTube is an ESTP, and he makes me laugh like no other because he says the things that I'm thinking, and I love watching his reactions to things. Like, his facial reactions are just on point. Honestly, both ENFJs and ESTPs, if you ever see them act, their facial reactions are on point, and they truly know how to embody a character in a way that makes me laugh like no other, as I keep saying. So here's those were just some appreciation for all the types, my favorite types. Thank you so much for watching. If you'd like to join my Facebook group, Personality Typology for Self-Growth, that is below. And, you know, I have typing offerings under construction if you want to be notified when they're ready. My one-on-one coaching and all of that stuff is all sort of in construction, but if you want to be notified, there's that link below as well. And subscribe if you like more content like this. I also have a Patreon if you would like to support my efforts in continuing sharing what I know. And have a wonderful rest of your day.